Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesusjunkjournals, and I am back to work on this Fruit of the Spirit journal. I looked at my pages today after they were folded, and I gathered them into 3 signatures, and I realized that they're too thick for that, so I'm going to make 4 signatures instead. So I've split them up and kind of made them an even amount and put in my journaling pages and all those things. And so I think now I'm going to go ahead and sew my signatures together. Here's my wax linen thread, my needle, my awl. So it's 2.5 times the height of your signature. Flatten it with your fingernail and it should go right through the eye of your needle. Got an upholstery needle. I'm talking to people who maybe have never done this before, so. Okay, and so I make sure all my pages are centered the way I want them. Make sure all those napkins are laying right. And I'm going to take my awl and I'm going to punch a hole. I'm just going to eyeball it, punch it in the middle, and a little ways down from the top, and a little ways up from the bottom. And then I'm going to, because I want my where I tie it off to be at the back, I'm going to start here, put it through the middle, wiggle it around till it gets into the hole I punched. Usually goes right through. There you go. If it doesn't, don't panic. You can just go 1 page at a time if you have to. Now I'm pulling it through and leaving a tail about that long. And I'm going up to the top and put the needle in here. And then I'm going all the way up, putting it through this hole. There we go. Pulling that through and pulling it tight. And then going back through the center, making sure, this is the only tricky part, make sure I don't hook that thread. There it is. Okay. And pull the needle off. And then put one of these threads on one side of the line of thread there. One on one side, one on the other. Pull it really tight. And then tie a double knot. Or in my case, a triple knot. Just because. And cut it off. And there's the first one. You also want to make sure you've got your pages right set up when you do that, because I've been known to sew my pages upside down. Okay, so that one's done. Okay, so then the next one. 1, 2, 2.5. Thread your needle. Hope everybody's having a good day today. We are getting rain, much needed rain. We're in a drought. And now we're getting we had 2.5 inches of rain just since yesterday. So now we have flooding, but you know, at least we have rain, so that's good. Okay. And just check all these pages, make sure they're centered up the way you want them. And that my handkerchiefs are laying the way I want. And this is a pretty thick signature here. All right. And I'm going to pull it tight. Leave myself a tail about that much. And then I'm going to go up here. Might have a little bit of trouble getting this to go through in one swoop, but you can look through here and see where the hole is and just line them up. All right, that helps when you have that much, and then you pull it tight, and then you go all the way to hit the bottom. Pull that through and pull it tight, and then we're going to do this where we want to make sure we don't catch this side when we poke it through the hole. Pull the tail out and pull the needle off. Pull it tight. Put one of these tails on one side and one on the other. Tie it off and you're done. I tell you what, the longer I do the journaling, the less formality I give to tying up the signatures. I used to be super careful because so many videos of different people, it's like, oh, you got to clamp it a certain way and clamp, and you got to have a special table to put it on and do this and do that. And what I have found is it really doesn't matter. So that's me. That's my opinion. Okay, I'm going to leave this like this so that when I stitch it, it'll get caught by two of the, I don't want it to get in between the two, the top and the bottom hole, and not get caught with the thread. So I'm going to leave it here all the way to the bottom and punch my holes, eyeball it, punch a hole, top, bottom, middle. Oh, I will clamp it to hold it. So I forgot to thread my needle. 1, 2, 2.5. All right, leaving a tail there. And see how these spun around? I mean, in the old days, I would have had a panic attack thinking, oh no, no big deal. Just go on about your business. Thread through the holes. Like that. Pull it tight. Leave your tail though. And then come all the way up to the top. And it's not going to catch that page at the top. That's all right. I think 2 of them is fine. And then when I actually bind it into the cover, it'll get bound together again. Pull that through. Be careful not to hook that line. Pull off the needle. One on one side, one on the other. Pull it tight. Tie it 3 times. This one, and that should be the last one. This one now has a piece of brown paper that's bigger top to bottom, so I'm going to center it so that it hangs out on both sides, and then I want the rest of them to be lined up with each other. So I think that's what I've got there. Okay. Okay, so I have all 4 signatures ready. So now I can work on them. Boy, that's a thick one. Ready to add things to and do my pages. Do a little bit more to my pages. So now I'm going to go to my add-on kit, and there's a couple of folios I want to get put into this journal next. Okay, so the ones we're going to do are on page, and this doesn't have a page on it. This one with the sky blue sky, and page 1 of the add-on kit, and page 6 of the add-on kit. And this one we're going to use some envelopes, just regular envelopes. These are, let me get a ruler, 6.5 by 3.5. So just a standard envelope. And I'm going to spray these with some coffee and just kind of stain them, I think, and let them dry. So I'm going to take some, these are just cheap coffee crystals I got at Aldi's, or maybe I got them at Walmart. They're great value, probably Walmart. And I just put a bunch of those in. Got a piece of paper here. I'm just going to roll it into a funnel. All right. And I've got about between 1/3 and 1/2 of the jar. And then I'm just going to take some water that I bring it upstairs in these old coffee creamer bottles because I don't have a sink up here. So I'm going to add water and just shake it. Hot water would have been better, but I think it'll work okay. So I'm going to take, hopefully this sprays. That's my main concern. All right, and then I'm going to, let's see, let me get a piece of material. Piece of paper or piece of material, because whatever spray goes off, you want it to get onto something and make a design of some sort. That's what I think. So get my envelopes out here and you could use stencils on these if you wanted to design. I'm not too worried about that. I just don't want them to be plain white, so I'm just going to spray some coffee on them. So I'm going to let those dry. See how that spray goes everywhere? It's like, oh my goodness, it gets everywhere. I even got my edge of my page there. And then this will be used for something eventually with the coffee stain on it. Okay, so I'm going to cut these out. You'll notice it says scored 2 or 3 times within 1/8 of an inch, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the scoring just so I don't forget. So I'm going to get my scoring board. If you don't have a scoring board, you can use the back of a X-Acto knife blade or anything just kind of sharp and flat, and run a line where you want it with a ruler. That will work. It's just not as great of a solution, but it will work. So I'm going to score this fold line, which you see, and that's just bleed right there. And so I'm going to now score it. I'm going to move it just a little bit over and score it again. And then I'm going to move it just a little bit further and score it again. And that is just to give it a little bit of a curve and a little bit of a cushion for when you put your envelopes in. So I'm going to fold it on that first fold line, but then you'll see how those other score lines are there. Okay, so that's just going to give you a little bit of thickness for your envelopes. Okay, so now I'm going to take my corner punch that gives you a rounded corner and round my corners on this. And I'm going to ink it. I could do stenciling on here. Let me think. I'm going to glue the envelope to it. Let me ink this and see how that looks. That might be enough for me, but you can stamp or glue paper or however you want to do this. Your envelopes will glue against it, so just a little bit of it will show, but it's something that you can. So let me show you what this is going to do. We're going to find a place in our journal that we don't necessarily like, because this will cover it up. So let me look through here and see. It also needs, of course, to be a page that doesn't have a handkerchief on it, so that kind of will limit it too. So I'm just going to look. It needs to be, it's going to go on the right side. So it could go there. It would look pretty there. But let me see if there's any page. I could put it there because I'm not wild about that page. Let's see, what else do I have? Could go there, but I don't really like the color combination there or there. Oh, these have napkins anyway, so that won't work. So that's that. Nothing jumps out there. One more. So there's nothing that jumps out like this is the perfect page. So I think I'm going to go back to my first one and do this. I'm going to glue it on this page just because it's not, I don't hate this page, but I'm not particularly happy with it. So what I'm going to do is glue this tab down here, right along the edge. And I'm going to center it top to bottom. And then my envelopes, which, let me dry these real quick with my hair dryer. I'm going to take these are still just a little bit damp, and actually I think what I'll do, I need to ink the edges of these real quick, so let me do that. And I'm going to tuck this flap in on these. I did 4 envelopes. You can do as many as you want. I mean, 3, 5, 4, whatever. These are a little soggy because they're not quite all the way dry, but they will crisp up as they dry. Actually, I think I will put a little bit of glue. Just a little bit. So there's no confusion. You could lick those, I guess, and stick them if you wanted to. The glue would probably work fine. Okay, so you're going to line these up in the same direction. And you're going to glue a little bit across the bottom and right there in the middle. And just put that right on top of the other one. Like that. And then this one, same way, right up the middle, right across the bottom. And keep going. Like that. And then you're going to take the flap. Where's my flap? Here it is. Glued in. And before we glue it in, I'm going to show you what it looks like. It looks like that. And so we're going to glue it here and here, but this is going to go underneath it kind of as the back piece, and this you'll glue to that. So before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, do I want to put paper? I think I'll stencil it. That's probably the easiest thing for me to do right now. And I'm going to do purple and a turquoise. I like that color combination. Whoops. So I'm going to do Wilted Violet and Mermaid Lagoon. And I think I'll put a washi tape probably top and bottom maybe. Okay, so purple. And then the Mermaid Lagoon. Okay, so there is that design. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue that down, I think. And if you wanted to, you could print this out again, or however many times you want to, and make a little folio by just gluing this tab and turning this around and letting this be the outside, and you'd have this on the outside and this on the outside, and open it up and have your envelopes, and have a little separate folio that you could either just put into a journal. So either way works. Okay, so now we've got our envelopes, and so I'm going to glue this all the way around, and actually in the middle a little bit. So glue, I'm just going to glue it down. And I'm going to put it up against this flap, center it top to bottom, like that. And then I'm going to glue this to this. And there's your folio. And when you open it, it should, there's that one, that one, that one, and that one, which is not going to open up as far. But you've got four pockets basically to put things into. Okay, and if you want to make you could do a circle closure with this. I think I'm just going to leave it like that for now. I think that'll be fine. So there's that folio. And actually, I think I'm going to stop for today, and I'll pick back up on the next video. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.